Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, November 6th, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald. On Monday, Governor Baker announced a new executive order regarding new COVID restrictions in the state. To explain these new restrictions, we go to Sigal Reese.
Sigal Reese, Norwood's Public Health Director. The governor this week issued new orders and advisories around COVID-19. The advisory asks residents to stay in their home between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. The new orders included a revised gathering order, which requires a maximum of 10 people at private residence and gatherings, and if it's outside, you can have 25 people. Gatherings at events or public places have no more than 25 people indoors and no more than 50 people outdoors. All gatherings must end by 9:30. Host and event venues may be subject to penalties if they are in violation of this order. The orders also included updating to the face covering order, which requires everyone to wear a face covering regardless of social distancing of 6 feet. So really, when you leave your house, you should just always be wearing a face covering. In addition, schools and businesses can ask for documentation of any medical exemptions that people might be claiming. In addition to that, Norwood is 3 weeks in the red in this week's report, which means that we are transitioning from Phase 3, Step 2 to Phase 3, Step 1. Pretty minor changes. The most significant is that outdoor gathering change from 100 to now 50. So all outdoor gatherings are restricted to 50 people now in Norwood. There are some changes to occupancy. We'll be posting that information on our website, but like I said, the gathering is the biggest change, moving to Step 1.
Thanks, Sigal. Ms. Reese, along with the Board of Health Chair, Kathleen Bishop, joined the school committee meeting on Thursday night. Sigal informed the committee that the latest COVID data for Norwood, which was supposed to be released Thursday afternoon, has been delayed until Friday. The school committee asked the health director her recommendation on how the school department should proceed.
So what do we do now? I would say at this point, stay the course. Really nothing has changed as far as what's going on in the schools from when we spoke last. There are additional cases in the community, but I really don't see any school transmission. We don't see a huge spike in cases of school-age children. We're actually seeing a wider range in ages. So I think part of the problem with describing this disease in our community is it's sort of all over the place. There's no one thing we can point to. There's no one cluster. There's no one activity that is sort of leading to the rise in cases. It's a lot of little things. It's social gatherings. It's some workplaces where people are in close quarters for long periods of time that leads to the spread. There's such a variety of sources. There's not one thing I can point to that says, 50% of Norwood's cases are coming from this activity or that workplace or this industry. And I think the state is working to try and really characterize the cases by trying to release cluster data. But if last week they started to release that data, and you can really see it's a smattering of different things. And I think, COVID's throughout our community and it's showing up in different spaces. And there's really not one thing we can point to, which is uneasy. That's not a good feeling. We really want to pin down what activities lead to the transmission, but we just can't. It's just kind of all over the place.
Sigal also noted that Norwood has a high testing rate with low positive case numbers and no in-school transmissions.
And I just, I keep harping on that we're not seeing the transmission in the schools. And that we're probably at the same place why the community case numbers has gone up. I think that's one indicator. Our testing rates are high, our percent positive is pretty low, and there's no in-school transmission. So I think looking at all those data points are important.
Stay tuned after this break for more town news. Welcome back. As was expected, a large number of voters hit the polls on Tuesday and casted their early and mail-in ballots for the 2020 presidential election. On the ballot was, of course, the highly touted presidential race, but also a number of state and local races and 2 ballot questions. Here is how Norwood voted. In Norwood, the contested voting totals were as follows. For president, Biden 10,941 votes, Trump 5,721 votes, with Joe Biden winning by 64% of the votes. In the Senate race, Markey had 10,883, O'Connor had 5,708 votes, with Ed Markey winning with 65% of the votes. For representative in Congress, Lynch had 12,631 votes, Lott had 2,580, Stephen Lynch won with 82% of the vote. For Norfolk County Sheriff, Jerry McDermott had 6,845 votes, Patrick McDermott had 8,546 votes, Patrick McDermott won with 55% of the vote. For the ballot questions, question 1, right to repair, the yes vote had 12,446 votes, and the no vote had 3,819 votes, so the yes vote won with 76%. Question 2, ranked choice voting, the yes vote was 6,649 votes, the no vote was 9,404 votes, no won with 58% of the votes. All results will remain unofficial until after November 13th. The town accepts overseas votes until November 13th. Once those votes are tallied, the numbers will become official. Earlier this week, the Norwood Hospital announced they would be reopening their on-campus COVID testing center. We caught up with Justine DeFranzo, Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer, who explained more.
Hi, my name is Justine DeFranzo, and I am the Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer at Norwood Hospital. We are excited and proud to reopen our COVID-19 testing center here on the Norwood campus. We have located an all-weather mobile medical unit on our campus, and we've created a negative pressure space for testing, outfitted all of our staff with the appropriate PPE, and want to ensure that we provide you the safest environment for testing. Our COVID testing center is located on Washington Street, adjacent to the post office. Patients wishing to be tested need an appointment. It is not a walk-in center. In order to get an appointment, your doctor's office will need to fax an order to the testing center. Once the order is received, our staff will call the patient directly to schedule an appointment. At the time that your appointment is scheduled, staff from our testing center will give you instructions on what to do when you arrive. The hospital remains closed, and while we were able to offer some services to the community, it is very important to note that we are not open for emergency care. I cannot express enough how grateful the Norwood Hospital team is for the tremendous support we have received from the town of Norwood and the more than 15 communities we serve. Thank you very much.
This week, NCM takes you down to Norwood Airport to get an update on all the latest projects and announcements from Access Road. For more information, here's Airport Manager Russ McGuire.
Well, this past month was actually the busiest October in the last 3 years here at the airport. We had 6,100 takeoffs or landings in the month of October. This was actually a 22% increase over October of 2019. And what we believe is happening, what we're experiencing, is an uptick in on-demand charter flights. There's definitely more flight training, and there's even more corporate flying and personal flying. So we're seeing generally an upward trend for the airport. But again, this was the busiest October in the past 3 years. It's a beautiful 70-degree day today, but a week ago we experienced the first snowstorm. We were in the midst of getting our equipment ready for the snow season, and ended up having to quicken that, accelerate that in order to address the snow. Thanks to my assistant, Mark Raymond, we were ready to take on about 3.5, 4 inches of snow here. We were closed for about 6 hours, had to close the runways and taxiways in order to do the cleanup. We kept the airport open for the helicopter traffic. Another project that we're overseeing is the construction of a hangar by flight level. It's just to the south of the Welch Administration Building, which is the building we're in right now. This is a project that we've been overseeing for a little while, and there seems to be some real progress at this point, mainly in the area of site preparation. There's been some coordination between the town, flight level, the FAA, Mass DOT, our air traffic controllers, and the general contractor for flight level. But that project is actually moving along very well. And finally, the airport actually has done a lot of public service flights over the years. Everything from aerial larvicide to control the mosquito population, aerial airborne power line patrols, airborne law enforcement through the State Police Air Wing. And one of the programs that we have supported is a program called Turtles Fly Too, and it's actually a nonprofit organization that in the past has been affiliated with a New England Aquarium. And due to the coronavirus this year, the New England Aquarium has not been involved. So this Turtles Fly Too organization has reached out directly to the airports, whether it be Norwood or some of the other general aviation airports in the state, and is making an appeal to the piloting community and the aviation businesses to support what they're attempting to do, which is to take stranded sea turtles along the Cape Cod beaches and fly these turtles to some of the other rehabilitation centers up and down the East Coast. So flight level has stepped up, and we expect that some of the local pilots will step up as well.
Thanks, Russ. And now we're going to toss it over to Juliana O'Neill with school news.
Hi guys, I'm Juliana O'Neill, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. At the Oldham School, first grade students are learning through integration. They put their knowledge of nouns, articles, and communities together to create a noun town. Their final product is making their hallways look amazing. A special shout out to Oldham custodians Jose and Carlos, who work diligently to keep the Oldham School clean and sanitized. At the Coakley Middle School, the 6th grade students are having a food drive for the Norwood Food Pantry. Please bring in canned goods by Tuesday, November 10th. CMS is also collecting leftover candy to send to our troops. The deadline is Friday, November 13th. Nice job, CMS. This week at the Willett School, the kindergarten children continue to work on their numeracy skills. One of these skills is called subitizing, which means the children roll a die and they match the number on the die to a number on the worksheet in front of them. This helps the children know how many there are on a die without counting the dots. After finishing up their morning work, the students then move on to the calendar work. Students at the Willett are also continuing to learn their letters and sounds. Let's take a quick look into Miss Doucette's classroom.
What sound does it make? Good job! See, that's our new letter.
I know it. Whenever I'm home, when I write it, it's going to come off.
See, even though you've been up, you did a good job. Okay, are we ready? Julian, tell me. Good, everybody repeat it after us. T.
Norwood Fire Department is conducting fire drills at all the schools, and recently a drill took place at Norwood High School. The Norwood School Department works closely with the fire department to schedule fire drills throughout the year, and the first fire drill in the fall is helpful as students transition from schools and grades. At the Prescott School, the 3rd graders had a social studies lesson and learned about the continents and oceans. This activity tied in nicely with their ELA unit on the environment. Students have been thinking about how different cultures relate to their environments, how people travel in their environments, and how our environment affects us. Creating 3-dimensional globes out of pumpkins was a fun way to give the students a 3D perspective while learning to identify the continents and give them a well-deserved mass break outside. This was a great activity that provides students with hands-on, engaging projects while continuing to be safe during the pandemic. In the Remote Learning Academy Grade 1, Ms. Hindley and Ms. Chalkis, Ms. Watson, and Ms. Kelleher had a fantastic time engaging with families around expectations for 1st grade during their fully remote learning. Families, and many kids joined too, heard about a typical school day, including when their kids get breaks, time to get their energy out through Go Noodle, and what the academic pacing might look like. Each teacher shared a Google slideshow and answered parents' questions. Each teacher offered multiple sessions to parents in the event they had siblings or work schedules that families had to work around. All families were complimentary. Grade 1 RLA Supervising Principal Brian Riley said he really enjoyed participating in these Meet the Teacher sessions and visiting the 1st grade RLA classes routinely to see high engagement from students and enthusiasm for learning from the kids. The students at the Callahan enjoyed their first ever Monster Dash. The hallways of the school were transformed into a festive obstacle course for all to enjoy. Maintaining social distancing, students galloped through ghosts, made eyeball witch's brew, ran in and out of candy corn cones, and navigated caution tape in a zombie walk. In addition, Halloween music was played, complete with disco lights. This PTA-sponsored event raised close to $12,000. That is very impressive. Great job, Callahan. What's better than one day of Halloween? 3 days. The Little Mustangs celebrated 2 days of Halloween at school so all of the preschoolers could enjoy the holiday with their classmates. Children who attended Remote Wednesdays got to show off their costumes during their remote Halloween parties. While this year, we had to replace medical masks for Halloween masks, that didn't stop the preschoolers from having fun. They wore their Halloween-themed shirts and played games like Catch the Bug on the Web, pumpkin bowling, Halloween Twister, and other fun activities. They enjoyed singing some not-so-spooky songs and reading stories together. It was a fun day for the students and teachers who enjoyed seeing their little pumpkins having so much fun. Second grade students at the Cleveland School were so inspired after reading the story Maybe Something Beautiful in their ELA class, they decided to create their own mural. As in the story, students collaborated to plan and create a mini wall of art. A huge shout out to the Morrill Memorial Library for bringing their pop-up library to the Cleveland School on Wednesday. It was a wonderful opportunity for students and families to check out books. The Morrill Library is a great resource for students, and thank you for coming to our schools. The Balch School celebrated Halloween by having family photos taken at the school, and students were able to watch Halloween-themed movies at lunchtime. The Balch Second Grade Remote Learning Academy took part in the Meet the Teacher Night and shared their curriculum with parents at home. Their presentation contained great information about the ELA and math curriculum. Well, that's it for the school news. There's something interesting happening in our classrooms and schools every day, and thanks to all the educators who share their news with us. Now let's go to Brian Dunn for the latest sports news.
Hello there and welcome into the sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn and we have no new sports scores to report. As we'll remind you, last weekend's games have been postponed, but we are back on schedule for this weekend with a lot of coverage as we wrap up the season here. This Saturday and Sunday, all the matchups against Westwood will take place. You can find all the live coverage here on Norwood Community Media. Wednesday, that's Veterans Day, we will have coverage of field hockey varsity in JV versus Medfield. All other contests against Medfield will take place that following Saturday and Sunday, so we hope you'll join us for the live coverage of those games. Also, for those looking to find and watch our live stream, here's a quick PSA showing you what you can watch and how you can access us.
Come on. Yes, I think it's going to win.
Oh! Norwood Community Media produces weekly live coverage of government meetings, sports games, town events, and much more. You can access all of our live content on our live stream at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Here's how it works. Type norwoodcommunitymedia.org into your web browser. This takes you to our website where there are 3 options of live stream to watch. Our community live stream carries Norwood news, Norwood High School sporting events, and other town events. To access news bulletins and event reminders, please visit our bulletin board live stream. For live coverage of local government meetings, you can visit the government live stream page. Once you've decided which stream you need, simply click the box with the title and then click the play button that appears and you will be watching live NCM coverage. Thank you for choosing your home for all things Norwood, Norwood Community Media. And that's going to do it for me this week. Make sure you tune in to this weekend and to the sports update next week for the recaps of the games. See you then. Kristen, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. In government, Monday night, the Cultural Council began their November meeting with an update from their treasurer and an update from the Massachusetts Cultural Council. Following those updates, the board discussed the town's 150th birthday celebrations and the voting for the 2020-2021 grants. To end the meeting, the board discussed the recent fire at the very culturally active Norwood Commerce Center. The next meeting for the Cultural Council will be December 7th. The Conservation Commission met Wednesday evening for around an hour. The committee held 2 public hearings that included an issue of an order of conditions for 1077 Pleasant Street and a determination of application for the Brook Street Lot 5. Other business included discussion of the Ellis Dam Cleanup Day and the Conservation Agents Report. The Conservation Commission will meet again in a few weeks. After meeting with the Board of Health, the school committee conducted normal business Thursday night. Business manager Karen Sheridan updated the board on the new school bus contract amendment and gave her end-of-year report.
In your packet, you have amendment number 2 for Connolly buses. It adds 4 reduced per diem rates for the 2020 to 2021 school year due to the change to the hybrid and remote learning necessitated by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So the 4 rates that are being proposed by Connolly Bus is the first is the deferred start hybrid model rate. It is $217.93 per diem. I should say the current contract rate is $388 per diem.
Under policy, the committee unanimously took a first vote to add a gender identity support policy for students. The update will be posted on the school website for 2 weeks, and then the school committee will vote to adopt the policy. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break for more town news.
Come on. Yes, I think it's going to win.
Norwood Community Media produces weekly live coverage of government meetings, sports games, town events, and much more. You can access all of our live content on our live stream at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Here's how it works. Type norwoodcommunitymedia.org into your web browser. This takes you to our website where there are 3 options of live stream to watch. Our community live stream carries Norwood news, Norwood High School sporting events, and other town events. To access news bulletins and event reminders, please visit our bulletin board live stream. For live coverage of local government meetings, you can visit the government live stream page. Once you've decided which stream you need, simply click the box with the title and then click the play button that appears and you will be watching live NCM coverage. Thank you for choosing your home for all things Norwood, Norwood Community Media.
Welcome back. Gifts for Kids, a nonprofit organization, is one of the many programs that have been forced to readjust during the pandemic. But a couple awesome kids in Norwood found a creative and fun way to still find a way to give back. Led by Michael and Ryan Grenham, along with Bobby Griffin, a street hockey tournament was held at the Norwood Savage Center parking lot.
We saw a tweet on Twitter saying that the charities needed more money this year, so we decided to have a street hockey tournament to raise money. It's a little bumpy over here, and I wanted it to be like more flat, so.
My brother played hockey for Norwood High School last year, and they did something similar. So this gave us an idea to help fundraise what they did last year.
So I was over their house and we were thinking about having a charity event because we heard that they did the last year's Norwood High School team did a fundraiser for this charity. So we invited all of our friends, but it wasn't just all of our friends. We invited everybody in our age in our community, and we charged $10 per fee for every kid, and there was probably about 15 kids, so we raised a good amount of money, and it was a great event.
Gifts for Kids' mission is to ease the financial burden by buying gifts for people who may need relief during the holiday season. Sarah Mercury explains how the pandemic has changed the way the organization has operated.
Early on, we decided to reach out to our agencies and find out how we could best serve them this year, given the environment that we're in. And we realized very quickly that they couldn't handle the volume of toys and gifts that we typically have. So we decided that we needed to raise funds in order to convert the funds into gift cards, and then we can safely get the gift cards to the agencies and they can disperse to their families.
With funds needed to be raised, the street hockey tournament was played, and $360 was raised for Gifts for Kids. The kids wore masks and played 3v3 to help with social distancing. Great job, boys. Norwood is so proud of you. Hot dogs and music were on the menu at the Senior Center earlier this week. Director of the Senior Center, Carrie McCarthy, explains more.
So today we're having an outdoor event in our little parking lot park. I invited DJ Dogs over, and they serve a lunch, and then we will play some jukebox bingo. Today is a hot dogs, potato chips, cookies, and a beverage. We have pre-register. Everything's pre-registered now, so we registered our max of 45 people. So we brought them here. We have everything socially distanced, plenty of sanitizer, mask wearing. So just another day to get them out, and before we really have to close down the area because of the winter. Right now we're just preparing for the Lombardo's Thanksgiving dinner. which we'll be delivering. We actually just increased it from 100 to 150 meals because the calls keep coming in. So Thanksgiving Day we'll be delivering a lot of meals to people in their homes.
In 2022, Norwood will be celebrating their 150th birthday. A committee composed of town government and residents have been tasked with planning a year-long celebration. Soon you will start to see marketing for various events around town and on social media, and the committee is asking residents for help. The Norwood 150th Committee is looking for someone to create a logo. The logo will be used to market events held during this year-long celebration of Norwood's 150th birthday. This is a fun opportunity to be involved in a part of Norwood's history. If you are interested in submitting a logo, please email it to norwood150@norwoodma.gov by November 30th. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.